Hey guys, about to play the third match in a standard league on Magic Online, waiting for them to locate an opponent for me, and I'll be back with you when I have one. And I have one. Okay, we would like to play first. And this is a hand that's kind of worth thinking about keeping, but I think it's still a little too dangerous too. Not having a second plains is a pretty big deal. We can definitely play our first two cards, and if we draw a second plains, we're like set, and this hand turns out really well. But I think it's worth mulliganing against an unknown deck. This is better. It's kind of a lot of lands for this deck, but I'm okay with it. It's hard to know against an unknown deck how good Valorous stance will be. I think I'm going to put it on the bottom. I'd rather draw a creature at this point. But turn 1 Kytheon, second turn Consul's Lieutenant is pretty sweet. So we'll play Kytheon into our turn. I'm going to be sad if I scried that to the bottom and I end up drawing a land, or it ends up being very good in this matchup. Looks like we may be in an aggro mirror, or a burn against a burn deck. Kytheon may be about to eat a Wild Slash to the face. Nope, he didn't, but this is definitely an aggro mirror. What can't block creatures with power 2 or greater? Works for me, and that is the kind of thing I wanted to draw. So we're going to swing with Kytheon here and then play Anafenza. Chances are good that our opponent, has Wild Slash and stuff, and our deck definitely doesn't love playing against those decks. But we have some good sideboard for it. We're not incredibly weak against it. If they're using a card to kill one of our creatures, we're, not too upset about it. If we're getting 1-for-1s, we're not upset. 2-for-1s are bad, obviously, but I just noticed I played the wrong creature there. But, if I get in with it, it'll be pretty nice, but I definitely meant to play Anafenza. So, whoopsie. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me. I'll write out number. Yeah, it came back to bite me because Anafenza would not have died to outnumber right there. So, for our opponent, if that was the only removal he had, then we're going to be pretty sad that we went with that and made that mistake. I'm going to play this just so I can sort of, if I feel like it, make him indestructible. I don't see that happening, but Archangel of Tides is pretty good in this matchup, so it's nice that we have one in our hand. It's hard to burn up. Roast can't hit it. And now we can't make Kytheon indestructible, but I think we're okay with that. And it makes it harder for my opponent to attack, which could be relevant, but chances are it's just going to be good because it's a huge body that for a turn keeps my opponent from attacking. So we're probably up against a deck with Atarka's Command and so forth in it. See what our opponent has. Probably Wild Slash, no Dragon Fodder. All right. That is pretty good against us. That's less true when we have Archangel of Tides in play. It'll also make Kytheon into a 3/2, at which point I think I'm probably willing to trade him for a couple Goblin tokens. So, Anafenza number 2, so not super ideal to draw that, but we will play our Archangel here, which will make Kytheon a 3/2. And I think I turned both these guys sideways here. He has to, double block either of them to kill it, and we have another Anafenza in our hand anyway, so getting in for the damage and getting rid of that Dragon Fodder when he probably has Atarka's Command seems pretty good. So which does he double block? All right, makes sense. So I could have attacked first, although then he wouldn't have been a 3/2, and he could have just blocked with one Goblin, so I guess that's why I did that. All right. Can he deal with my Archangel? There's Tears of Valakut now, which sadly can deal with an Archangel of Tithes. Didn't used to really exist. I haven't seen people citing it yet, mostly because Archangel of Tides isn't seeing much play. I'm sure if it did, people would be sideboarding it a lot, because even Rending Volley can't deal with the Archangel, and that's pretty relevant. No attacks. Makes sense. Yeah, Archangel untapped right now is actually pretty brutal for our opponent. Not a land, please. All right. I think we Stasis Snare, Monastery, Swift Spear, and swing for 5. Our opponent is looking to do Teamer Battle Rage plus become immense though. So maybe I should keep that in mind and just swing with my Angel, leave up mana for Stasis Snare to be used on the aforementioned card instead of just Stasis Snaring the Monastery Swift Spear. But I can also just block the Bell Striker, and right now he has the mana. So, I mean, leaving Archangel of Ties untapped is great right now because it really shuts down what this deck tries to do, but it's also really the only way I get in for decent damage right now, sadly. So, I wish I had Vigilance. Then that would just be gross. But we have Stasis Snare, so I think I just swing with the Archangel instead of trying to get in for 5 here and play a little more conservatively because I know my opponent can just pump a dude and kill us right now. So, and having Stasis Snare helps us deal with that. So, all right, Hordling Outburst. That isn't ideal. We would have preferred some different action there. Okay, I'm just going to take 4 here. Yeah, we may actually be forced into a more defensive position. Oh my god. That's pretty gross. Okay, well, I'm going to swing with, I'm going to swing with the Archangel and then play Archangel number 2. Having both in play would really shut our opponent down, but, yeah, that was a good draw. We get to pump up Anafenza to a 3/3 in the meantime, which means it can now block Zergo without dying. We are now open to Battle Rage nonsense, Become Immense Battle Rage. He has 5 cards in his graveyard, 7. So, I mean, we could take a large amount of damage, but yeah, the double Archangel's pretty hard to beat, and our opponent realized that. There was definitely a lot of luck involved there. So we want our Wingmares for sure against a deck like this one, because taxing them just really makes their deck a lot less effective. We could probably lose, gaining life's pretty useful, so I think I'd probably just lose a Felidar Cub. And probably Valorous Stance. Neither of those are very good in this matchup, so I'm glad I bottomed that. I could put in Surge of Righteousness. It's also good against... I could put it in place of Stasis Snare. Yeah, I think that's probably reasonable. Thing that's nice about Stasis Snare is I can use it to get things out of my way. But against this opponent, they're going to be turning their cards sideways most of the time, just like we are, so we can Stasis Snare fairly easily. I could think about Lantern Scout, but I think the Wingmare is better in this specific matchup, where our opponent's trying to play a combo basically with Teamer Battle Rage and Become Immense to just crush us. Making him have to pay 2 more for that's pretty relevant. So, yep, I think that's what we do. And we go on to game 2. Archangel, obviously, we keep. All right, this is pretty good. Yep, that is a keeper. Yes, we do keep. So, probably lead with Kithion. Gaining life is actually relevant against this deck. So is exiling stuff from his graveyard because he wants to become Immensis pretty hard. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and lead with Kithion. In my turn, we'll probably play Consul's Lieutenant on turn 2. Hidden Dragon Slayer is also pretty good against the combo, as long as I have mana untapped anyway. If I don't, it's not that good. Yeah, Dragon Fodder's pretty annoying, I must admit. Not really willing to trade here. I think I'm just going to play my Consul's Lieutenant in my turn. We do have our Surge to deal with the combo when it arises. Right, Abbot of Corral Keep. Pretty good card. What does our opponent hit? Monastery, Swift Spear. So if he has... Good. At least he didn't hit a land. That's like the worst. The worst of the worst. Okay. I'm going to swing with my Consul's Lieutenant. If my opponent like triple blocks it, I can just Surge of Righteousness the other thing, so I don't feel too bad about that. I'm sure he just takes it though. Yeah, he does. And we're also okay with that. Our guy gets bigger, gets his Sweet Anthem effect. Okay, so now what do we do? Is it worth it to me to make sure I leave mana up for Surge of Righteousness, or should I just be aggressive? I think I go with aggressive. I think I just play Freeblade and Woe Reaper and in my turn. This means Kithion's in real danger of flipping, which our opponent definitely doesn't want to happen. And it's going to force him to have some sort of answer for some of our stuff. I mean, and right now a Teamer Battle Rage, all that nonsense, like, you know, that's not enough to kill us. So, I mean, it'll hurt, but from here on out, I think we should try to leave mana up for Surge. I mean, maybe it would have been better to play the Hidden Dragon Slayer there, because it develops my board and gives me a way to deal with that combo when it comes. Doesn't look like it's coming this turn, though. No, just a Hordling Outburst. Which, you know, isn't ideal, certainly, but... I mean, I'll trade with that at this point. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to block that. He's enough of a problem later. I'm perfectly happy to trade my 1-drop for it. All right. So here we have some choices to make. Hey, well, you're not going to get us anything right now. I think I swing with everything. They all get pumped, so my opponent is going to have to trade a fair number of cards here to come out ahead, basically. And our Topin Freeblade doesn't even have to tap, so that's pretty nice. And we can also make Kithion indestructible if we decide we'd rather flip him than anything else. And that might be worth it, so we'll just see what happens. Now our opponent's just taking it all the way. Okay. Works for me. So we're going to leave mana up for Surge now. I think that's clear. Kithion's about to flip. And we will be using his indestructible ability to untap our Consul's Lieutenant and make it indestructible once it flips. And we'll just play one Maruo Reaper, exile his Abbot of Corral Keep from his graveyard, so he has one less card for delving. So yeah, up to one target creature, no thanks. So we're going to make this indestructible and untap it. And we're going to play one Maruo Reaper and leave mana up for Surge. And exile his Abbot of Corral Keep, making it a little harder for him to do his stuff. Doubly harder because we gained one at the same time. And I'll end my turn. All right. So, I mean, we can block pretty effectively here. Hordling Outburst. Okay, well, our opponent going wide on us is definitely not ideal. Because he could just Atarka's command us to death, potentially. But, you know, short of that, I think we're in pretty good shape. Okay. Drawing another land there is pretty nice, actually. I think I swing with everything again. It forces him to block some stuff. If I play my Hidden Dragon Slayer first, I can't exile anything from his graveyard anyway, so I could gain one if I play it first. I could also attack with Gideon. A 4/4, though, doesn't make a huge difference in combat here. Oh, he'll be a 5/5. I'd rather use him to make something indestructible that I attack with so I can be back on defense. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and swing with everything. My whole team gets pumped. Well, this doesn't get pumped, but, you know. So my opponent has to do some blocking here. He's just dead. So that's why I think it's worth it to attack there. I mean, his plan's going to be to Atarka's command us and try to kill us that way. But it won't be able to kill us for a few reasons. Yeah, we're cool with that. Okay, so he goes to 4. That trade happens. Fewer goblins is good for us. We're going to untap this and make it indestructible. And then we're just going to play Hidden Dragon Slayer face up. It can gain life now from blocking, which will help keep me alive, and it lets me leave mana up for Surge of Righteousness, so all are relevant. All right, Abbott. Definitely not what I wanted to see, but let's hope our opponent doesn't hit something. Okay, Zergo. Can't block our guys anyway, so I feel okay about that. All right. I mean, we're probably going to play our Knight now, and it'll just be a regular old 2-2 who doesn't get us any cards, but that's not so bad right now. Okay. Do I want to attack now with Gideon? I mean, now Gideon represents lethal on his own, so he has to be blocked. Zergo can't block him. My Topin Freeblade will also have lethal damage. And I will be playing another card. And I'll also be gaining 3 life here to go up to 24. And I'll still have mana up for Surge. So I think I do want to attack with Gideon here. Yeah, let's do it. I mean, we're going to force our opponent into blocks that makes it so he can't go quite as wide on us. So everybody gets bigger. Except the Consul's Lieutenant, of course. But our opponent has to block this. He has to block this. And we gain life. So how else are you going to block? You're going to lose some goblins. Looks like it. Okay. He's trading there. He goes down to 1. Works for me. We're going to play our Knight and leave mana up for Surge. Would be nice to exile that Abbot from his graveyard. All right. So, I mean, it comes down to this turn, really. Depends on what our opponent can do here. Okay, Atarka's commanding, doming me, and pumping his dudes. So he didn't leave green up for Become Immense, which is interesting. Okay, Reckless Bushwhacker. All right. I don't think that's going to be enough to do it, especially with our Surge. Yeah, he conceded. All right, well, we out-aggroed Atarka Red, which is pretty good. We just got in, doing crazy amounts of damage both games, and by the time our opponent could do his crazy amount of damage, it was way too late. And we had Surge ready to go there anyway, so went pretty well. So we're 3-0 in the league so far with this white Weenie deck that costs about 30 tickets. Feels pretty good. See you guys for the next round, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.